he'd come back. Taking care to hide behind the curtain partially covering her living room window, Tabitha watched Seth Zimmerman walk down her front porch steps after knocking on the door. He'd waited for her to answer, of course. Maybe 30 seconds, maybe longer. The amount of time he waited didn't really matter, anyway. Tabitha didn't open her door for anyone. Well, no one except for her sister Mary once a month. She hadn't greeted anyone else for a long time. After another couple of minutes passed, Seth walked to his truck, peeled off his tan canvas jacket and set it on the hood. Then he fished out an axe from his truck's bed and walked to the wood pile and started chopping. It wasn't the first time he'd done any of this. Almost 2 years earlier, Seth had dropped off a pile of logs. He'd knocked on the door, no doubt to tell her about it. When she hadn't answered, he'd written a short note explaining why he was there. When she'd read his note, Tabitha had felt so guilty. Common courtesy said that she should thank him for his kindness, open the door, and face him, at the very least. But the knot of tension in her chest and the mess of nerves zipping through her body had prevented her from doing even that much. She'd learned a lot about fear in the last 10 years. Enough to realize that being cautious wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it even saved one's life. Even though she knew Seth was no Leon and she likely had nothing to fear, Tabitha still hadn't budged. Instead, she continued to stand behind the heavy curtain and watch Seth chop wood, like some kind of twisted stalker. Or maybe because she was a lonely woman, and the sight of Seth Zimmerman chopping wood was surely something to see. All brawn and muscle, his body moved in perfect synchronicity as he chopped those logs. 3 months ago, the weather had been hot, and his cotton t-shirt had become damp, clinging to his chest and arms like a second skin. After chopping several of the logs into small, manageable pieces, he'd placed them in a stack near the front porch, and then drove off. Now, here he was again,